I'm gonna start streaming.
This meeting is being live streamed. Got it.
Oh, and recorded.
And recorded. Need to frame up. There we go. I heard you, bitch. There you go.
And he's been gone so long, he hasn't heard the Zoom thing.
I never heard her talk to us before.
All right. Welcome to a new episode of The Usual Saints. I'm Mike D.
Mike.
Here with Saint, Jeremy, and special returning guest star one time. I don't know. We'll see how he feels.
Vinnie. I may be back. I may be totally back.
Well, I mean, what else do you have to do, Vinnie?
Exactly. Unemployment, being broke, it's fantastic.
Well, how you been, man? It's been shit. How long's he been off the show, Jeremy? Since like August, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably been about that.
So what's been going on, man?
Not much. I mean, same old. I'm just trying to make ends meet by door dashing, med zooming, all that kind of crap. Can't find a job for shit. I don't know how many resumes I put out there, but I don't know. People in my field just aren't hiring. They're on all the job search sites, but as soon as you send a true application and resume in there, you never hear back from them. And a lot of the places out there are hiring people for $12 or $13 an hour. And I can make that, doing DoorDash. The only difference is it's just, no medical coverage. That's, seriously, that's all I'm really looking for, is to, get something that's consistent and has medical, especially at my age. I'm old. Look at me. Cold pizza and seltzer water. I need medical.
Medicare is not covering it.
No, not yet.
Oh, you're not at that age yet. Okay.
No. The only thing I got is an AARP card, which is the same as having a library card, basically.
So, not to bring up bad memories, but do you have any regrets about leaving your last place? Because you did leave there, right?
I did, but it was under certain circumstances, because my dad was still kind of sick.
That's right.
Yeah. And I basically had to leave because they were going to fire me anyway. Because, I would either have to leave early or come in late or not show up at all. So
gotcha.
So I started looking for the bus driving thing, but now, the way COVID's been escalating and all the variants and shit, I don't want to be in a tube full of germ carriers, driving around all day, So
and you thought our show would offend the people?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad to have Pillow Fucker back.
Yeah.
Man.
Those pillows are gone, by the way.
R.I.P. By the way, I don't think we stole this from the show. Maybe we did. I don't remember who came up with Pillow Fucker, but on the show Big Mouth, that's what the character Jay does. He fucks like different cushions and pillows and things like that. And they what do they call it? Where they talk? They give them the anthropomorphic. Not that's wrong, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about, Jeremy? Saint?
Where they put like a mouth on it?
Where it talks, it has human characteristics.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, the pillow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anthropomorphic. No, whatever. That sounds about right.
All right. So first, I want to give Jeremy the A block because he thinks all my shit on my topic list is too one note and boring. And so, Jeremy, what would you like to talk about today? Because I got some stuff we don't have to talk about the topic list. But hey, go ahead. What do you got, man? What would you like to cover today? Anything in the news or pop culture or anything you want to bring to the table?
Well, I'll start with something that's probably pretty near and dear to your heart, which is I still think the NFL overtime rules are fucking bullshit.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I don't
get it.
I mean, there's an obvious model out there, the college model, although they tweaked it this year where both teams get the ball from the 25. You score, you don't, whatever, kick a field goal. The other team gets the same opportunity. Yeah, the
Right.
second team has the advantage of knowing what they need to do, but hey, somebody's got to have the fucking advantage. And then the second overtime, it flops. College, after the second overtime now, instead of the 25, you get one play, pretty much a 2-point conversion, go or no go, and you should keep going back and forth with the teams that way. To me, that I mean, especially watching this last weekend of probably the best football games, 4 football games I've ever seen in my life in terms of as a whole. I mean,
Yeah.
3 of them were one on a last second field goal and the other one fucking went to overtime. I mean, that's damn.
Yeah. There's been some good football games for sure.
But yeah, I mean, this whole well, you know, you don't win if you kick a field goal, but if you get a touchdown, you do. But it's just fucking stupid. Just give both teams the ball from the 25 and let's see what happens.
Here, I'll be the Mr. Beg to differ on that. First of all, it's like people complaining. It's like a few things. Everyone knows what the rules are going into the game. So it's like, yeah, you know, if you get the coin flip or whatever, but you know, that's why you have a defense. A defense is there to stop the play. You know, we automatically assume, well, only one team got the ball. It's like, yeah, and they still had to go down and score a touchdown. That's one. Two, it's funny because Kansas City was a team back when they, you know, in the same situation happened with them with the New England Patriots where Brady got the ball. Kansas City never seen the ball, didn't see the ball again. And the Patriots came down and scored a touchdown. They were like, hey, they went to the rules committee that following season and said, hey, do you want to change it? And they got thoroughly dismissed. It's like sour grapes, whatever. So in my opinion, it's like the NFL and the rules committee has plenty of time to see this. And this is obviously what they view is the best scenario for them. Again, we have a lot of people complaining about it. But 3, I mean, I don't really see how that's unfair. It's like you've played 60 minutes of a smash mouth football game. And in the end, we say if it goes to extra minutes, it's like we'll give a team the ball. If that team's good enough on their first drive or whatever drive to go down and score a touchdown, well, then your defense just ain't capable. They're just the better team. I just feel like it completely discounts the role that defense plays in the game. And I mean, if they change it, I'm not going to be upset either, but I didn't understand why there was such this big, I don't know if it was people feeling bad for the Buffalo Bills or if people just wanted more football. But to me, it's like, yeah, we just seen 60 minutes of amazing football. You go to overtime and it's like, they got the ball and they marched the ball all the way down the field on your throat and scored a touchdown. It's like, hey, you weren't good enough to stop them. Game's over. That's how I kind of feel about it. Again, I'm not saying I'll be upset if they change it. I just don't realize why so many people got upset about the way it's done or feel like somehow the way the rules set up, it's unfair right now. It's I don't know. It's kind of odd to me.
Well, part of the argument is that if you got a game like that one where it's 2 offensives, especially towards the end of the game, that are just fucking neither defense can stop either team, then it is just a coin toss. And in the playoffs, in the NFL playoffs, the coin toss winner has won 10 out of the 11 games that have gone to the playoffs in the NFL. 90%, the coin toss winner wins. That it's sure it's a small sample of only 11 games, but that's just, I mean, something's got to be done about that if it's that big an advantage.
See my pizza? What do you see? What do you see there?
Obviously, I still think the Broncos should have beat the Steelers because, you know, whatever, but the rest of them need to be changed.
And I see shapes in the clouds. What do you guys say?
I think Vinnie has some Alzheimer's going on. We're having the overtime rule topic discussion, and Vinny's just chewing his pizza and making shapes like a 4-year-old. This is fun having him back.
I was going to say, does Vinny forget how a Zoom works? It's like, huh? Like
they can see you, Vinny.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, the argument, yeah, I'd say maybe small sample size, but then also it's like, I get it. People want more football, but it's like if so the other team gets the ball and then Buffalo, theoretically speaking, Buffalo gets the ball and they score a touchdown. So then after that, it's okay. So the next team to score wins the game. I mean, how, you know, to me, it's just, you can just play that game back and forth, back and forth. I don't know. It's kind of, to me,
Well-
and I understand it. And the way the college plays, I guess maybe you can argue it's more excitement, but I was just amazed at that game, period. But then the way everyone was talking about, the overtime rules, I was just like, I guess I just didn't get it. To me, it seemed like the overtime rules are kind of fine. Before, I didn't like where it was like you could just go down there and kick a field goal, because then I'm like, you don't really have to play offense. Every team on a field goal, all you try to do is, hey, we'll get in the field goal range and end it there. To me, that seemed counterintuitive, because in a normal game, you're trying to score touchdowns. You're not just trying to get in the field goal range. But it's like, if your defense can't stop them from getting a touchdown, it's an all-around game. What I would love to see is if someone in overtime tried to kick it off, and I'm not sure what the rules say, but you try to onside kick it just as a head fake, like onside kick it, and would that count as them having the possession? I don't know how that works, but it'd be interesting to see that. But I'll let somebody else give your opinions, Mike, Vinnie.
Well, what I think is that both head coaches should meet at the 50-yard line with like swords and, old time gladiator shit and fight it out. Shirts off, down to their underwear, 50-yard line. Whoever comes out alive, their team wins. You imagine the ratings on that? Can you imagine the TV ratings on that shit? It'd be amazing.
Why does it always come down to? It always comes down
cheering
to
for overtime. Yes, overtime. Excellent.
It always comes down to men in their underwear when we talk to Vinny. So I don't know. This time with sword.
Hey,
but.
it's more gladiator-like if they're just in their underwear. You know what I mean?
So we're gonna have Andy Reid with his shirt off, and wait a minute, I'm looking up the Bills head coach, and then Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott.
So Andy Reid takes off his shirt,
all right,
and he gives him a sword.
They can sumo wrestle. The two big, the two
I
heavy
think
guys.
McDermott's he's skinny, right? He's not fat.
Yeah,
Is he?
McDermott's fit. Yeah.
Yeah, McDermott's fit guy.
Fit for a coach.
So already it's unfair. You got the fit young guy against Andy Reid, who can sometimes barely walk out to the
but Andy
midfield
Reid,
to give.
Andy Reid would be dirty though. He'd have to fight dirty, and that that's ratings.
So first of all, Andy Reid said after the game, at some point, I saw it online, which I theoretically means it's true, right? That he thinks it was unfair and that he thinks both teams should have a shot at scoring. Because with those two high-powered offenses, if the Bills would have gotten the ball, they would have scored first, just based off how that last 2 minutes of that game went. I understand what you're saying, Sainte. I do. Like, yes, you have to account for all facets, but at the same time, 53 guys are playing the game. If you don't give the other half of that 26, 27 people the opportunity to do what they do and score a touchdown. If they don't score a touchdown, fine, then the game's over. But it's you gotta be able to give them a shot. I don't even like college. I hate college football, so I don't understand. I don't know anything about the overtime rules, but I do think that each team should be given one shot to score a touchdown, and then beyond that, I don't know. That's what someone that gets paid more than me would have to.
And then beyond that, it's the next team that scores wins, right? That's
probably
beyond that, it's the next team that scores.
No, but I would say give them the same opportunity. If someone goes back and scores a field goal and you go back and score a touchdown, then the game's over. If you go back and score a touchdown, the other team doesn't score a touchdown, then the game's over. You know what I mean? It's got to be evened out. But I saw a funny meme. It said if the overtime rules were fair, it had the same end shot of the crowd with the score at the bottom, and it said like 139 to 142. Kansas City.
So to that, speaking of that, college, I've watched a few games, just happen to be watching them, where before this year it went to 6 or 7 overtimes. Where
I seen that game. It was like 8 overtime because I seen an alert when they're in overtime number 4. And someone's like, this game's in the 4th overtime. So I did my little thing, got on that game. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
And even this year, there was one that went to 4 or 5 or 6. But like I said, after the second from the 25, it comes down to a 2-point play. And that's all you do. You line up at the 2, you either get the 2-point conversion or you don't.
I actually prefer that better. I actually think that's more interesting.
2 overtimes, you get the ball at the 25. You can score, you cannot score, you can kick a field goal, whatever you can happen. You get first downs.
Hey, look.
Both teams do it, and then move on. Both teams do it again. And I mean, to me, that is just
So-
so much more fair. Both defenses got to play. Both offenses got to play. It
So
just doesn't make sense
here's
the
how
way the
college
NFL
goes,
does it.
right? College goes, you flip. Whoever wins the coin flip can decide. Usually in college, if you win the coin flip, you go on defense first because the way it's set up there. So in the first one, you go at it, right? And you start at the 25. Both teams get a chance. You can kick a field goal or a touchdown, but if the first team gets a field goal or touchdown, then the second team has to match a field goal touchdown. In the second overtime, if you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2. So when you score a touchdown, you have to go for 2 points in the second college overtime. Then if it gets to the third college overtime, that's when they go to from the 2-yard line, and basically you're going for 2-point conversions, tat for tat. Basically, I don't even know if I think it's just one play. They take out even the down markers. Yeah, it's one play from the 2, and you have to score. If you don't, then the other team have to score, and you have to match back and forth. Only reason I would go for that system because it's less wear and tear. You're not asking a defense to sit out there longer trying to, actually defend the whole field and yardage. So I kind of do like the college rules more. I'm just saying that, and again, I'm not against if the NFL feels like, yeah, maybe we should change that way because, we're arbitrarily making up these rules as we go. I would prefer them go to that college, hey, 2-point conversions back and forth than, trying to be like, okay, you get the ball for a touchdown, and you get the ball for a touchdown, and you get back. Because at this point, both defenses are spent, like you said. To me, it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, well, if we score a touchdown, then they get a chance to score a touchdown. And then now whoever scores next wins the game. Basically, the coin flip matters in that situation anyway. That's all I'm saying.
So I saw one of the things I saw with the best way of putting this to me was the NFL treats overtime like if you went to baseball in the top of the 11th, you hit a home run and the home team doesn't get a chance to score. It's over.
Right. Yeah.
It makes no sense. The other team should get a chance to score. That's all.
But they had a chance because they had to flip. He picked heads and it was tails. He should be
coin
better at the
flip.
coin
You
flip.
decide though. You want the coin to decide
They-
who's winning the game? That's not.
It
no.
was they had
Neither team
a
deserves
fair
that.
chance out of logic
Listen,
to
I
get
just-
it.
I just want to see
And then-
60.
and
I
then-
just want to
then
see
tell
60
your
minutes
defense.
in the game so I can see 60 minutes. Okay, that's all I want. If you're on
It's
CBS
so-
and you're in overtime, I'm pissed because I want to see 60 minutes. Come on.
This is what we got Vinnie for. Well, it seems like
When
it's-
you're sitting around unemployed, I don't give a fuck that these billionaire football players are, got it so bad with the overtime rules. I don't care. Give me 60 minutes.
Not they have it bad. I honestly felt people felt like they felt bad for the Buffalo Bills. They felt bad for the quarterback or whatever. Oh, it was such a great game that he
Josh
didn't get
Allen,
a chance
yeah.
to touch the Josh Allen. He didn't get a chance to touch the ball again. I'm like, well, then maybe he should look at his defense and be like, hey guys, can you get me a stop or can you stop him at a field goal?
Yeah.
People act as if like Kansas City walked on the field and they were playing 2-hand touch or they just waltzed into the end zone. There was a defense there. It completely negates the fact that your defense didn't stop them to score a touchdown. To me, it's not like Buffalo had zero agency in it. It's like tell your defense, hey, stop them for a field goal. Give me the ball back. Keep him to a field goal. Keep him out the end zone, fellas. But no, it's cry for us because we didn't get the ball. Yeah, hey, maybe your defense should have stopped them with 13 seconds left. How about that? How about defense don't let them score a field goal with 13 seconds left on the clock?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
The other meme I saw
I like that.
was Kansas City scored a touchdown quicker than the Cowboys could get that up there to down the ball. Fucking
There you go.
Right, man.
Nice.
No, what are you doing? Why are you running so far?
No,
This is
you know
they ain't
why?
getting there in time.
And an Andy Reid coach team, who Andy Reid historically has been one of the worst clock managers in history, they had enough foresight to like, hey, get there and make sure the referee touches the ball. Obviously, the Dallas Cowboys, because remember, I don't know if you remember watching that game, but Tony Romo was saying the ref has to touch it. And I know I'm like, or the umpire, like he has to touch it. You don't just get to spot the ball wherever you want to spot it. That's what the Cowboys are trying to do. Hey, here's a spot. Like, no, a referee has to spot the ball. Yeah, that's end game management. That's stuff that the good teams practice and the cowgirls don't. There you go.
Yeah, fuck the Cowboys anyway. All right, what else?
All right, what else, Jeremy? You
Are
got
we
anything
done?
else?
We done?
No.
Okay.
I'm just seeing what else Jeremy's got. That's all you got? I guess we'll move on.
I thought I gave you a good topic.
I guess we'll move on to more of the entertaining topics, but that's fine.
You thought you'd be a dick and put me on the spot, and I came up with a good topic. So bite.
I was hoping you'd have the whole show planned out, like a whole paper.
It was a good topic. It was a good
thesis.
Topic. Hey, as long as the game isn't on CBS, to interfere with 60 minutes. Overtime could go on as long as it wants.
Do you guys have any opinions on the coaching situations? Peyton apparently actually did retire. Apparently he was just saying he was stepping away, but apparently he's gone. So that leaves the Saints open. I heard the Jags want to hire Byron Leftwich, which I think is interesting because he was an offensive coach for the Steelers for a season or two. And then he went to the Bucs and obviously has had some success there as the offensive coordinator, right? So I didn't know if you guys had any opinions on the coaching situations. Miami hasn't hired anyone yet, right, Saint?
No, I think they're going. Who did the Giants just hired? The Bills offensive coordinator. I think that was Miami's number one pick, which again shows you the incompetence and the complete ineptitude of the Miami Dolphins ownership group.
Didn't they win 9 games to end the season or something, or 8 games at one point this year? What the fuck are you firing that coach for? The Dolphins.
Because the Dolphins again is a perennial trash fire. I
don't know how they turned into. I don't know how they became that bad a team, man.
Well, no, because the owner doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't want. He puts his trust in people who are not football people. Our general manager, Chris Greer. Kudos for having the gall to hire an African-American manager, but he's been there for 15 years. He's been there through 4 coaches now, and he stays. And for some reason, he stays, but we keep firing coaches. And, the coach, and I don't necessarily disagree with him, but Brian Flores doesn't have a lot of faith in our quarterback, Tua, an undersized, often hurt quarterback from the University of Alabama, which again, University of Alabama has studs at every single position. But go back and look. If you think I'm joking, go back and look. The last really great quarterback to come out of the University of Alabama into the pros and become NFL All-Pro Hall of Fame type was Joe Namath.
Yeah,
I had a brain. Joe Namath. That's the last Alabama. All those national championships Alabama wins, and their quarterbacks don't, because they're surrounded by 5 stars at every line, wide receiver. Derrick Henry is an Alabama running back. You realize how their quarterbacks are set up to succeed, and yet they get to the pros and they're kind of. There's 3 of them right now. There's Tua, there's Mac Jones, and then you got Jalen Hurts. He ended his career at the University of Oklahoma because Tua took his spot. But from the 3 of those, every one of them, you're going to be like, okay. And Brian Flores, who's a defensive guy, he looks at his quarterback. He's like, do I really have a great quarterback? But they're putting all their eggs in the Tua basket. So they got rid of Flores, and he's going to get a job immediately from one of these teams. So, but that's, nobody wants to come to the Dolphins dumpster fire, even though if you know what you're doing, it theoretically, it should be a great position to have. You should be able to get free agents and should be able to, keep them around. But there's my little Dolphin rant. So,
well, with Big Ben retiring officially, that's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
All the bathrooms in Pittsburgh are now safe again for for our young ladies.
They're just more unsafe on Sundays now too.
Boy.
The bathrooms are in Georgia, I'm pretty sure. Thank you. My fantasy football team name this year was Big Ben's bathroom buddy. Is what it is.
I keep my head on a swivel in the bathroom.
That's because you're looking for guys.
That's right.
Looking for the closest glory hole.
That's why I carried a drill.
Does anyone here have any opinion on the Steelers
Ooh,
quarterback
Jeez.
situation? I mean, obviously, we're probably looking at Mason Rudolph starting next year. I get people saying like Aaron Rodgers might become. First of all, I don't want Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers. I don't care how good he is. I know you probably think I'm lying. I don't want to see him on the Steelers. I disagree with too much of his personal philosophy and everything like that. I just don't know that a veteran coming to the Steelers makes sense. I almost want him to give Dwayne Haskins a shot. They didn't give him any shot except for in the preseason. So, and we'll see if they get anyone in the draft. Apparently, according to what I'm reading, there's no one that's really going to be great in the draft for a quarterback. And this is going to be Kevin Colbert's last draft. He's retiring as GM. So it's there's a lot going on. With this.
I don't understand. I mean, compared to my organization or the team that I sort of kind of root for, the Steelers are like, I put them and the Patriots as the top as like the most well-run organizations in the NFL and most of sports. You know, they've had 3 head coaches. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. But just, I don't know why you wait so long, especially when a guy that you know is close to retirement, and to have him try to pick your future quarterback and to be asleep at the wheel. It's like season after season, you see Ben Roethlisberger getting worse and worse and worse. Eventually, we're going to have to replace him. And it seems like it just never crossed their mind. Again, still never had a losing season under Tomlin. I think their best bet is to go maybe after like a Russell Wilson and still try to see if you can find someone in the draft. Like, hey, Russell, this will be your team for the next 5 years, but we're also looking towards the future. Just make a deal with someone like that. I think Russell Wilson in that system with Tomlin, you know, I think Pete Carroll, I think he's kind of lost his mojo over there, and he probably needs to retire. Also, he's close to 70 years old. But yeah, bringing a veteran again, I don't know, the whole Aaron Rodgers situation is just like, I don't even want to talk. Who knows where he's going to go somewhere, but it's like you got to deal with a diva. Forget all the off-field stuff. I'm really, even though you kind of can't, but just on field, it's like he has this diva-ish quality. Like you're part of this team, right? Like you have to take some agency when you guys don't play well. Like, and you didn't play well. He was locked in on what's his name, Devontae, the entire game. You could see it. And you know, whenever they win, it's because Aaron Rodgers. But when they lose, he's looking around at everyone else. Takes no agency in it. You know, forget the off the field stuff. That's the kind of stuff where I'm just like, yeah, this guy's, you know, buying too much of his own bullshit. But the Steelers go for a Russell Wilson. Go for, I mean, what's his name down in Houston? I don't know if people want to do
Deshaun Watson. No.
Which Watson may.
They like rapists.
Yeah, I didn't want to make the obvious joke, but yeah, you know.
No charges. There were never any charges.
That's right. Never convicted. Never convicted.
Well, my thing is, I understand why the Steelers didn't go out and get a backup, because if you take a high pick and go after a quarterback, that pretty much says, hey, you know what? We're rebuilding. We're moving to the future. If you're trying to win now, you're still using those picks on people you think can affect your team this year. So
and again,
Steelers still had the mentality that they could win now. So you got to go after who helps you now, not in the future.
Ultimate respect to Mike Tomlin. And quick side note, the reason Mike Tomlin wanted to be the Miami Dolphins head coach, but at the time, and they're not here anymore, but at the time, the Dolphin front office management said he was too hip hop to be an NFL football coach. And hip-hop. This is a man too hip hop, which I'll leave you to decide what that really means. Right. And he just went on to go to 2 Super Bowls, win a Super Bowl, and never had a losing season. And then we have the Miami Dolphins. Anyway, again, much respect to Mike.
I want to know who said too hip hop and thought he.
Oh, it was
get away with
it. GM. It was our GM at the time, and our owner, which I think was Stephen Ross. He was a brand new owner. He said he agreed with everything. He didn't say it. I feel the same way, but he goes, I trust the judgment of my general manager. And it was the general manager who said it. That guy's been fired and is long gone. But anyway, but Mike Tomlin, nah, man, look at Bill Belichick. As much as I think Bill Belichick's an asshole, he's an asshole to the point where he's like, all I want to do is win football games. I will lie. I will cheat, deflate gate, whatever. I'm about winning these football games, right? And he's like, hey, look, Brady looking a little he'll go get a Jimmy Garoppolo. That whole situation, we can go back and forth, but it was Belichick who was like, hey, Tom is getting up in age. We'll replace him. Now, Brady's great and won two more Super Bowls. I can't believe I have to say that. Brady's so great. He won 2 Super Bowls after that whole thing. But Belichick's like, look, any of you guys can get replaced. If I notice a bit of slippage, I'm looking for the next young stud to replace you. And the Steelers, whatever. Thank you, Ben, for your service. But they should have been looking 2 years ago. They should have been looking for a replacement for Roethlisberger. It's like, what's the point of just, okay, yes, we are still good. We're winning football games, but we're not going to go deep in the playoff with Ben throwing freaking 10-yard ducks. Before you'd move in the pocket, you couldn't bring Big Ben down. It hasn't been like that for years. And I think it's just kind of mismanagement when you're not looking towards the future. That's the name of the game. You always have to look forward. I think probably the only people in sports you really couldn't do this to is probably Michael Jordan and now, I hate saying it, Tom Brady. But really, if it's not those guys, it's like anybody can be replaced. Father Time's undefeated. Got to look to the future. And I'm not saying a first-round draft pick, but at least a second or a third. Steelers should have got a quarterback. Mike, your feelings as the Steeler homer here, as Vinny's having some technical issues.
I don't know what the fuck's going on over here.
I don't know. Being a Bulls fan in the 90s, fucking Reinsdorf, or whatever the hell his name was, did try to replace Michael Jordan and said, oh, it won't be a problem. We'll be fine.
Yeah, it did. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought for years that they should have had a plan in place. I look at the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre model. I look at there's another model that I it's on the tip of my tongue. I forget. Maybe you guys can think of it. But like that's the model. You have someone in the wings. You have one in training. I mean, even fucking Tom Brady didn't start when he was drafted. He was under Bledsoe. Roethlisberger didn't start. He was under Tommy Maddox. Everyone had to get injured before they picked up. But so you got to have people.
Chargers did well.
With who?
Chargers did well this year, replacing their quarterback.
Justin Herbert, yeah, but that guy's a fucking stud. He's like 6'7", and he's like, he's 6'7", 250, and he can do whatever he wants to do. So
you mean another quarterback the Dolphins could have drafted. Instead, we went and got a small guy who's probably shorter than me.
Exactly.
From a team with. Do you see the hurt that I have? Yeah, we could have had Justin Herbert, but no, let's go with the little guy who's always hurt in football. Yeah, that's a good one. But no, I was also going to say with Mahomes, I mean, the Chiefs were winning games. They were going to the playoffs with Alex Smith, but they see Mahomes. That's it. Yeah. And they're looking at Mahomes like, we can win a Super Bowl with this guy. Yeah, with Alex Smith, yeah, you're good. And they said from, year 2, I mean, Mahomes basically sat his first year, but you could tell in practice, they're like, yeah, this guy's our future. Thank you, Alex Smith, for your service, but time to move on. It should always be like that. And for people with their feelings and Aaron Rodgers getting all in his feelings, because now the only thing I will say is if you're Green Bay, you don't have to take a quarterback in the first round. I wouldn't, if you still have a QB who you think you can win with, I would not take a first round pick, but a third or a fourth, like, just to see. Actually, even I was just talking about it. Russell Wilson. The Seahawks did that. They picked him in the third round when I forgot who he replaced, but it wasn't a thing. It's like, we'll take a third round, a second, third, fourth round flyer on a QB for either our backup or the future. And I think Pittsburgh has just not been on the ball with that. I get loyalty and I respect it, but sometimes, if you got to move on, you got to move on.
Yeah, I don't think he would have ever been offended, like to the point where like Aaron Rodgers was when Jordan Love or whatever got drafted. I don't think Roethlisberger would have been like that. He seems like a pretty team guy, and I wish they would have drafted someone. So now they're stuck with Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins, and Josh Dobbs if he stays.
It's gonna be a rough year. It's gonna be a rough year next year.
And whoever else. I mean, I read people saying give Rudolph a chance, but okay, I guess we're gonna.
Okay, what other choice do we have?
All right. We've done a long A block. Let's take a quick break. You've been listening to Usual Saints. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab a water.
Oh,
still alive, huh?
We are live and we have 0 viewers.
That's awesome. Fucking unbelievable.
Really not.
Unreal. Did we ever have any?
At one
Mike
point
made
when
his
we have
wife
the
watch once.
when we have the interviews is when we get some of their fans watching sometimes.
Oh, I got you.
That's true. What's that? Who was the guy that the podcast guy? We had people that day.
Mike EP.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had all his people.
Yeah. He was doing shout outs the entire time.
Yeah. That's cool. Whatever.
Mike EP, he was a podcast. What kind of podcast did he have?
He does We Speak English Good. It's he does a
Right.
Twitch stream, podcast, all that kind of stuff. He's all branded out. He quit whatever he was doing and that's what he does. He interviews a lot of musicians. He's a musician himself, I guess.
Yeah.
He's a pretty fun. He was a pretty funny guy. At the end, he's got a little bit conspiracy theorist, but
It was awesome. The end was awesome. It was the best part of the interview when you know it.
Yeah, go back. Is that one that's on YouTube?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on everything. It's everywhere. You know, I don't delete our stuff. I'll have Mikey P back. Yeah, he probably would come back. Maybe we'll see.
But you said he's doing this. He's doing this full time now.
Oh yeah, on Twitch. He's all
And he
about
had
that Twitch
sponsors
life.
Even then.
Well, sure shit ain't watching today.
Welcome back to the usual Saints. I'm Mike D here this week with Saint and Jeremy, and Vinny's back for however long he
However long he
Better
decides.
opportunity.
Let's talk about, since Jeremy wants to avoid the controversial stuff, let's talk about the Beatles. You like my Lego stuff that I got?
That is
You know who
cool.
this is?
Yeah,
Who is
it's
this?
Do we
it's
know who that is?
Yoko Ono.
Really?
That's Yoko Ono with John Lennon's glasses on.
So I just wanted to, we've never really talked about him. So, I mean, I figured we can do a short B block, just getting people's opinions on it. I'm a huge fan. I think it's probably because my mom's a huge fan. My dad, I'm sure, is too, but I think my mom is more.
I've always been a Beatles fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something I grew up with. And now I listen to their albums on my own, like the White Album's one of my favorite ones.
Sure.
I love it. And I try to expose my daughter to it. She doesn't really seem to enjoy it that much at this time. My wife doesn't like the Beatles too much. She's like, they're fine, So I just wanted to talk about to the other Saints and see what you guys' opinions were. I mean, Vinny, obviously you were alive when they were together. So
Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely alive when they were together. I was a young sprout, but I was alive. And
The young sprout of 22.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I had just been born when they were on the Ed Sullivan Show for the first time. And but yeah, I've been a fan ever since. But being alive when they were together, yeah, I mean they were being listened to all the time. Either by my mom or dad or my aunt, who was big in music. We're kind of kindred spirits as far as music is concerned. But yeah, I've always liked the Beatles, from the very beginning. And even when they went solo, except for Ringo, I mean, it was okay, him and the All-Stars and stuff. He did a lot of great stuff with other musicians, but yeah, Paul McCartney with Wings and John Lennon stuff in the beginning. And yeah, I've been a Beatles fan. And of course, George Harrison as well. Listen to a lot of his stuff as a solo artist. So yeah, I'm a huge Beatles fan. I still listen to their stuff, at least once or twice a week. I got one of their CDs in. So yeah.
CDs.
It's nostalgic. That's right, CDs, motherfucker. If I had a cassette, I'd be playing that shit too.
Oh my
Jesus
god!
It
Christ.
sounds better on CD.
It sounds better on CD. Get off me. I'm gonna stream everything, man. Oh, hold on, I gotta take a piss. We'll just go ahead and stream it. You don't have to even get up. Fuck.
Well, technically, when you take a piss, you are streaming it.
Yes, I realize.
I mean, so
That's the
only-
great content that we need that we're missing on this show. We got-
I'm tossing softballs to you guys. Come on, knock them out of the park. There you
So
go.
Vinny, you were the only, and I keep going only one live, but I want to know your memory of it because you were probably a teenager when
No.
John Lennon died.
Oh, when he died? Yeah, I was in high school.
Okay, so what do you? What do you remember about that, if anything at all? Like when he died, when you heard the news he was shot or killed or whatnot?
Well, of course you don't hear it. It wasn't like you're in class and you see it on your phone as you can now, but we did hear about it in school. A lot of people were talking about it, and yeah, it was sad. Because I was a fan, and the way he died was just ridiculous to me. It was just hard to believe that he got killed like that. But yeah, it was a big deal, man. 1980, it was all over the news, of course. And then the big thing with a lot of people heard about it first when they were watching the Monday Night Football game, when they
Howard
they interrupted.
Cosell.
Yeah, Howard Cosell. They interrupted and said that he had been shot. So yeah, I remember that well, actually. Yeah, and I was I guess a sophomore at that time. Maybe it might have been it was probably my junior. Yeah, it was my junior year because it was in December. But yeah, it was a big talk in school too. You wouldn't think at that point that would affect a lot of kids in high school at that time because of all the other music that was being listened to. But he was still relevant as far as music was concerned. He still had stuff coming out. So yeah, it was a big thing. I mean, it wasn't like a Kennedy thing or something like that, but it was pretty close, to a lot of people. A lot of people, remember where they were when it happened and stuff like that. And so yeah, it was a big deal. And then later on in life with George Harrison dying from cancer and everything, that was big too. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're nostalgic, you're growing up with those things, and it may even just be background noise, but it's still part of your life, and you remember it, whether you're a fan or not. You still remember those things. But yeah, I'm a fan.
You say later on in life. So how old are you now, Vinnie? 50 what?
7. I'll be 58 in June.
Okay. So George Harrison was 58 when he died. Can you believe that?
Cool.
No, I'm not trying to be all
cool. Cool. All right. So I won't be the only 58-year-old that everybody knows that died at 58. That's awesome.
No, but what I'm saying is when you think of George Harrison dying, in your mind, like I didn't pay attention to a lot of George Harrison. It was like 2001 when he died. So
right.
I was 21. I wasn't really following it, whatever. But when I think of George Harrison dying, I picture him like as an old dude dying. And me and Sainte have had this conversation frequently recently on the podcast.
Yeah.
Age is that number 58 is a lot closer to what we are than what we were 20 years ago.
So yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
How that works.
Yeah,
no, but I mean, like 58 doesn't seem as old to me now as maybe if I would have heard it back then. 21. Yeah.
Oh yeah. To a 16-year-old or whatever, 58 is like, oh fuck, that's old.
All right.
Shit.
And Ringo now, have you guys seen him recently? I mean, I think for the past 20 years at least, he has looked probably the best out of any of the Beatles. Yeah. I mean, but Paul McCartney's looking a little rough, and I love Paul McCartney. He goes on the Stern Show a lot. Ringo Starr is.
I mean, Jesus.
No. Ringo Starr is the oldest. He's 81,
yeah,
and he still old. Looks like he's in his 50s. Maybe.
No, he still looks good. Yeah, he looks good. Yeah, someone Jimmy Kimmel.
Peace and love.
Yeah, peace and love.
Peace and love. That's what it's all about.
All right, yeah. Sainte, you got any opinion on the Beatles? They ever play a part? You're a big music guy. Did they ever play any part in your musical upbringing?
Upbringing, not really. I want to say that. It was funny. I was going to give you a little bit of shit because you're like, I'm. Here's the Beatles. I like the Beatles. I'm a fan. I'm like, oh, really? You might be the only one. What I'm saying? Like, you ever heard people try to like introduce you to people? Be like, have you heard of this band called the Beatles? They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. But as I, gained more musical knowledge, I, at first as a kid grew up just listening to, I guess, what you consider just traditional pop music, then going into R&B and hip hop. And, around my teens, I got really into like old school 70s, 60s, 70s R&B, the Motown stuff, the
Oh, yeah.
Stax
I
record
love
stuff.
I love that shit.
But becoming a DJ and just trying to find more music and just where a lot of samples and where people get their musical inspiration from. That's when I got more into classical rock, 60s and 70s rock. And then eventually you go into the Beatles. And of course, like everyone, like I just love it's kind of weird as opposed to just really like loving or really feeling like the music is speaking into it. It's just the creativity and how they created their albums and stuff. And then when you look at it, the story of the Beatles is actually more fascinating to me from a historical standpoint than, me just loving the songs. Like, I'm a hip hop kid. I grew up, born in the 80s, 90s. Hip hop is my thing. And I tend to gravitate more to what you consider contemporary urban, Black Motown music. But
like Mike Tomlin.
The Beatles.
Yeah, you're too hip hop. You're too hip hop. Yeah,
for this podcast. But the story of the Beatles is fat because you look at it like they didn't hit the Ed Sullivan Show until like 1961, 62. Was it 62?
64.
I mean, 64.
64, yeah.
Was it 64
yeah,
that they
64.
hit the Ed Sullivan Show?
Yeah.
And of course they had their teenage years and all those times where they're performing in Germany on stage for sometimes 6-7 hours, all that, and just huge part of the British invasion and whatnot. But then on the Ed Sullivan Show in 64, and then by 69, they're broken up. It's like when you look at this and look at the amount of music they put out and compare what they look like on the Ed Sullivan Show to what they look like. I don't know if you guys just seen Get Back, the new documentary on Apple, on Disney Plus. How great they are for that amount of time, but how short of a period of time it was that they broke up. Completely different sound. And so to realize they're still in their late 20s when the breakup happens, it's just, and for that amount of output, creativity, I mean, John Lennon, McCartney.
I mean, that's what separates them from other bands is how much they accomplished in such a short amount of time and the longevity that their music has had, throughout the decades. That's why they're considered one of the best bands ever. Just,
Saint, I don't think we can hear you, buddy.
Yeah, Saint, we can hear you now.
Got me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, and I was just saying from a historical standpoint, it's just to see the output, the breakup, all the Yoko stuff, and then to see what they did after they separated. And of course, I said Paul and John Lennon, but not taking away from George Harrison. And Ringo himself was a great musician. It's just that you're next to Paul McCartney and John Lennon.
John Lennon, right.
It's just, hey, when you're the fourth best guy out of some of the greatest musicians of all time, it's just someone's got to, be last man on the totem pole. But
exactly, by process of elimination, somebody's the worst.
Right.
So it just happened to be Ringo.
Like I said, thoroughly enjoy the music, but just as music history, I should say, I find them so fascinating when I look back at music history. So I'll let Jeremy say.
Absolutely.
I think Jeremy just called me the worst of the usual Saints. I think that's what he just inferred. But is that what you just said, Jeremy?
No, I think it's me.
I said sorry.
Oh, okay.
Vinnie.
By process of elimination, it's definitely me.
I didn't know the Beatles very much growing up. I mean, I've heard their music, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. Actually, probably the most Beatles music I listened to was when the movie Yesterday came out a couple years back, where a guy wakes up and nobody remembers the Beatles.
Oh yeah, Yesterday. Yeah, Yesterday. Yeah,
which is a pretty good movie. Had a couple interesting scenes in it, but what I find funny is Ringo might be the last one left. That would be fucking somewhat ironic how everyone has discounted him compared to the others, and he might be the one that we're left with because that, and I found a story fascinating. I don't know if one of them told it on Stern or somewhere, but I guess right before Lennon died, McCartney and Lennon were actually hanging out and almost drove down to Saturday Night Live to just
Right.
go ahead and jam on the show.
Yeah,
And,
George
I don't
Harrison.
know what
George
happened.
Harrison showed up that night.
I don't know what happened at like the last minute, but they didn't go. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing. They almost got back together, maybe without Ringo.
yeah. George showed up
Almost
and
got back together.
George showed up and I think they gave him a check for like $100 or something like that for showing up. You know, kind of as a gag. Lorne Michaels met him in the hallway or something, and you know, yeah, here's the money we're going to give you for being on the show tonight. But yeah. I mean, everybody always wanted them to get back together, but and then they were still, you know, friends. They had their, you know, when guys that close hang out together for that long, it's like a brotherhood. And of course, you're going to have your fights and your spats and your disagreements and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But I think they were genuinely still friends, you know, still cared about each other. But that would have been great to see them be able to get back. And then, of course, when John got killed, you know, who wants to see 3 Beatles? You know, you want to see them all.
Okay, question before we end this topic. Do you guys have a favorite Beatles song? And if so, what is it? That's a tough one.
That's hard, man. Wow.
I think I'd probably have to go almost anything off the White Album. I'd say like Dear Prudence, I really love. I love Rocky Raccoon because I feel like I was singing along to it as a kid. So like I know it and I sing the whole thing when it comes on. Of course, you know, the classics, you can't really go, you know, Let It Be, you know, everything is great. I don't think they have you know, there's the stinkers in their catalog. You know, you think of like the ones that aren't as big of hits, but even those songs are still at least musically, experimentally.
The ones that Ringo sang.
Yeah. Octopus's Garden is fucking great. Are you kidding me? I love Octopus's Garden. But I didn't know if you guys had a favorite song. Jeremy, I challenge you, since you don't seem to have a lot of knowledge, but I challenge you to listen to it on go ahead. Top 3. Go ahead.
I'd probably give you my top 3.
All right.
Let it be probably Hey Jude and Eleanor Rigby.
Eleanor Rigby's great. I love Eleanor Rigby.
That's a good top 3, actually.
And fun fact of trivia, that's the only song that the Beatles did not play any instruments on was Eleanor Rigby. Me and Jeremy lost trivia one night because of that.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that
they had the whole orchestra in the background. They're not playing any of the instruments on that song.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sainte, you got any
trivia?
Maybe Come Together. Probably.
Sure.
Come Together, Let It Be, and then Hey Jude's kind of weird because my sister-in-law, they named my nephew Jude, so it was always kind of weird. People were saying Hey Jude and I just kind of was like but anyway, yeah, probably there, and I'd have to think about a third, but probably Come Together and Let It Be the first to come to mind.
Yeah.
Vinnie, anything?
Mine are probably from when they first came out because it's a little more nostalgic for me. You know, Can't Buy Me Love is one of my favorites. Hey Jude is there, definitely. And probably Sgt. Pepper is a great song. I like Sgt. Pepper too. Just a lot of the stuff that they use to make that album. You know, the whole album is great. So the funny thing is, though, when that album came out, then the Beach Boys came out with Pet Sounds, and that's a fantastic album too. If you ever get a chance to listen to that whole thing, it kind of rivals, you know, Sgt. Pepper. Brian Wilson was a bad motherfucker, man, until he went nuts. Well, he's still a bad motherfucker, but yeah, I think Can't Buy Me Love, Hey Jude, and I think Sgt. Pepper.
I think Stern just went off on a whole rant about how people talk about how good Pet Sounds is. He doesn't think it is. I don't think I've heard it, so I guess I don't have an opinion on it. But
well, like I don't think it rivals Sgt. Pepper, but it's good. I mean, for what they did, you know, the things that they did on it. But yeah.
What's a song off that album that they have? Can you remember? Can you name any that I would know?
Jesus, I don't even know.
What album is God Only Knows off of? That's a great song.
I think that's off Pet Sounds.
Okay. That's a great song.
Yeah.
And then you got their older stuff, you know, like Surfing. Did they sing
Surfing-
Surfing Safari or Surfing USA?
Surfing Safari. I think it's Surfing Safari.
Okay, I forget. All right,
I
let's.
always think that don't the Beatles do like all the surfing songs? Like every surfing song I ever heard was like, yeah, it's the Beach Boys, right?
The Beach
Like,
Boys.
Beach Boys, yeah. Well, then there was Jan and Dean. Jan and Dean were a big surfer music duo.
Mike, what was your top 3, Mike?
Like I said, I'd probably have to pick stuff off the White Album, and I love all of them. Like, it's so hard. Like, but that White Album, for some reason, I can just play it. At least, definitely the entire first disc I can listen to, like, no question, anytime I want. The second disc, yeah, too. But then you also have like Revolution #9 on there, and I used to love that because I thought it was the weirdest thing to listen to. I don't know if you remember, Jeremy. I had a party in high school. I threw Revolution #9 on just so I can see, just so I can play the weirdness for everyone. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Vinnie. I'm the Saint. Do you know Revolution #9?
Yeah. The reaction of people when you put that on.
It's the one where they're just playing all these random instruments, random sounds. They're going in and out. It's a really interesting song, but is it good? I don't know at this time. I feel like it's good.
It's good for what you could use it. If you want to end a party, you put that on and it'll clear your house out pretty quick.
So Jeremy, I mean, to answer your question, I think I'd probably go Dear Prudence. I just fucking love. Rocky Raccoon, just because, like I said, it brings me back to me singing it as a kid.
Yeah, it's a nostalgic
and then
thing. Right.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that, I mean, I do love Hey Jude. Just when that first note hits and he starts singing, I'm like, it's something I can sing along with. And then I think allegedly in the middle of that song, that's the one where someone says fuck allegedly. Like, I think it's Ringo or something. You allegedly hear say fuck off in the distance. He's like fuck, and I don't know, how true that is. I've actually listened to a few different YouTube videos about the making of songs. Like, and we can't forget. I mean, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. So while they're making that song, they have Clapton in there, and he's not credited on that.
Right.
So it's all this kind of stuff. It's so much history, so many rabbit holes to go down. But the White Album, and I mean, you can almost pick any of the 3 songs off there. Obla Di Obla Da, fucking starting the album with Back in the USSR. Oh my God, I'm getting chills thinking about that now, man. It's just making me, oh my God. I love that fucking album. Saint, you're off, man. There you go.
Check. If only we had a podcast, we could steal that song for. Damn it.
Yeah, no shit. Right?
Listen, have you guys heard the opening that Saint put together for the usual Saint screen reviews? I think it's a great opening. You guys really need to listen to it. If you haven't listened to our own podcast, you've heard it? Okay.
Yeah.
With all the Russian stuff,
good.
I think it's really clever. And I love hearing the Rounders stuff and the Golden Eye stuff. And
it's cool.
You got what's his name from Armageddon in there, right?
Yeah, the last guy is like Russian components, all made in Taiwan. Yeah, that guy.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, the question is, if you spend a lot of time creating a clever and interesting opening for your podcast, but no one listens to it, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Does it exist?
I think it's the tree fall in the woods scenario.
The 4 of us have listened to it.
Still good.
What, Armageddon?
Yeah, watch that the other day.
Ben Affleck said that he had such a horrible time making that because I guess Michael Bay wanted to make him like this sexy guy. I guess he had him had something to do to his teeth, like straightened his teeth, like had him work out just for the role and everything like that.
Was it that movie or Pearl Harbor? Because I heard the same thing about Pearl Harbor.
He probably did the same thing for Pearl Harbor, but I remember he said, Armageddon was his first, like, I guess, sexy guy role, because that's where he comes in. He's the love interest for Liv Tyler and all that.
Can Ben Affleck be sexy? I mean, if you tattooed a sexy guy onto him, he still wouldn't be sexy.
Sit down again. My father-in-law worked at NASA at the time we were filming it, and they'd filmed some of it there. He said that Bruce Willis was an asshole.
I could see that.
That's a Hollywood lore now. Everyone says Bruce. I mean, he's trying to make, which is the reason why he's making like direct to. Is it right to say direct to DVD? Is that even a thing anymore? Direct to streamer, but
direct to audio. Direct to audio.
if you look at it, like the last part of his career, he's been doing nothing but just garbage B movie stuff, and because he just has a reputation of like just being an asshole. I mean, famously, him and Kevin Smith had a big, huge where Kevin Smith is like, where what was that movie called? The one
Cop
with him
Out.
in a Cop Out.
Cop Out.
Him,
Wasn't Live Free or Die Hard?
Oh, geez.
no, that's where Kevin Smith met him, but he said they didn't really have that many scenes together. But then, so he's like, oh, I'm getting, hired to do this movie Cop Out with Bruce Willis and who was that? Why am I forgetting his name?
Was it Tracy Morgan?
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan? Okay.
Yeah. And Kevin Smith, like, everyone I worked with was such a delight. He like, I love that movie, except for this one asshole. And he'd never, I mean, now he says because they're trying to make up, but he was like, he's like, Bruce Willis was just an ass to everyone. He's like, I love Tracy Morgan. I love everybody. Everyone was like, it was a great experience, except for this one Hollywood. And supposedly he's just like the biggest dick in Hollywood. So
I guess that doesn't surprise me.
No,
that doesn't surprise me at all. He looks like he could be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with a C block, I guess, Chad moments of the week and whatever else we talk about. Vinny's not done that, yeah. So,
What?
We'll talk about it when we come back, Vinny.
Oh, God damn it.
You've been listening to Usual Saints. We'll be right back. Vinny's like, oh, done what? I don't know what you're talking about. So, Jeremy, go ahead and explain it because you're the one who named it, right? I mean, Vinny may have been on early when we were talking about this kind of stuff, but go ahead. So, welcome back to the Usual Saints. We got Vinny, Jeremy, Mike, and Sainte here.
So, I don't know if you know this about Mike, Vinny, but he is the male version of a Karen.
Oh, okay.
He will complain. He will write corporate.
Yes.
He will try to get people fired. It's pretty entertaining.
I actually was a part of that first one. Yeah.
And he does it so often that we can have a Chad moment of the week most weeks. And it's
wow.
For him to come up with at least one.
The one Chad moment. I love it.
By the way, I'm not the only one to have one recently. I know Saints had one. I'm sure you guys have. You just don't. If you use your recall, I'm sure you could think of one point during the week where something pissed you off and you had to do something about it. If you didn't, hey, maybe you're just not as righteous as me because, I want to make sure I get justice for the little people of the world and make sure we get things taken care of. But
I don't know about all that, but I will say, Mike, he has been rubbing off on me where a situation happened with Firehouse subs, and I ended up chatting that.
Oh my God!
And got two free subs. I mean, I didn't go and find the corporate board and write the senior vice president of what the fuck to.
Go to his house.
But I did respond. I did respond to a little email survey. Did get that? Got 2 free subs out of it. So that I deserve. So
I got to keep cool, man, because if I go for justice, people disappear. So I just let it go.
All right, so let's see my Chad moment of the week. Did I talk about Tires Plus yet?
Oh no!
You talked about
you got a beef with Tires Plus?
Yeah, so I got some resolutions. So they reached out to me after I went on their website. So I'll explain for Vinny real quick. We went last Saturday to get the tires on my wife's car changed. We had an appointment at 12 p.m. I called the day before to confirm everything, blah, blah, blah. I get there. My wife drops the car off. They say it'll be ready in 2.5 hours. We go to lunch. We go shopping. We come back at 2:45 p.m., which is 2 hours and 45 minutes. We get there, notice the car hasn't moved. It's in the same spot. I go inside. They haven't worked on it. One of the guys is like, oh yeah, we only have one guy that does that, so we can get it done within, give us an hour and a half. I'm like, fuck you. I didn't say that. But I'm like, no, just give me my keys. I'm leaving. Bye. You guys didn't even bother to work on it like you said you were going to. So I sent a message to their website or whatnot, and I got a response from the local store manager. And I asked him, when he called me, I specifically asked him, I said, were you there last Saturday? Like, I want to know if you were one of these dipshits that did not do the work on my car. And he said, no, he wasn't. I'm like, all right, that's fine. So he's offered to take, he basically has given me free the road hazard lifetime road hazard for the tires. Plus he's taken another, I don't know, $60-$70 off the thing. He wants me to come back.
Nice.
I have some issues with some of the other tire places in town as well. Shocker.
Holy shit.
Shocking.
Wow. How many fucking tire places do you go to?
I've got issues with all these.
All right, so listen, you want to go down the list? All right, here we go. Dealerships, listen, dealers, whatever. I can get them at dealers, but they're usually overpriced, right? Okay.
Yeah, dealers are definitely overpriced.
Yeah. Goodyear, I had issues with a few years ago. I used to go there for all my car service needs. And then one day I went there and I forget what happened, but this guy just started like fucking me over and like he was just treating me like a real piece of shit. And maybe I am a real piece of shit, but that's not how you treat a customer. So
right.
This guy was just pissing me off. And I wrote a thing and I never got any response. So like, I'm like, fuck you guys. I got your credit card. I've never been back. That was years ago, probably 5 years ago. Firestone, I've told the story because Saint was asking me about it the other day. We had my wife's tires done there. We used to go there all the time for our work because it's complete auto care, right?
Right.
We had tires put on there. They knocked off or broke off the tire sensor thing that most new cars have. Didn't tell anyone. I don't know if they didn't know or they just broke it off and thought we wouldn't notice. We start getting the error message. We bring it down to Kia where we bought the car. They're like, yeah, someone broke off your fucking tire thing. You know, it's going to be so much to replace it. We went back to Firestone. We're like, hey guys, fuck you. You broke this and you need to. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you like a little discount or something. Like, no, you're going to pay for the whole fucking thing because you broke it off. You're the only one who's been inside the tire to be able to break it off like that. So eventually they did pay for it. But still, if that's the kind of work they do, we haven't been back since. So by extension, Tires Plus and Firestone are owned by the same company, but so that's when I went to Tires Plus last week. I'm kind of giving them a shot. So I'm going after this to go get the tires done today at a slight discount. The guy seemed apologetic and he promised me it would be done within an hour and a half because he's there today. And I confirmed yesterday. I said, hey, so I'm going to be there tomorrow. So I'm going to drop it off. I'm going to walk to Outback or Olive Garden or somewhere for lunch. And when I fucking come back in an hour and a half,
I got a feeling somebody's losing their job at Tires Plus today. I got a feeling.
Is this your car or is this your car or the wife's?
Well, I mean, it was my car. It's the Kona. So yeah.
So, but who drives it normally?
Heather.
Is she going to be with you today when you pick it up?
No, she's out with her mother and Sophie.
Because when the brakes go out, I want to make sure she's not going to die along with you because they're
pissed. Shit. Yeah, it's just like sending food back at a restaurant.
End up in a fucking canal.
Yeah, it's just like sending food back at a restaurant. Don't do it.
You're going to end up in a fucking canal today. Just so you know.
I'll update you guys on that next week if I'm alive. Jeremy
if you're
doesn't
around.
think I will be.
Jesus, Mike.
Maybe a gentle stroll around the parking lot a few times just to make sure, like, okay, brakes, okay, tire hasn't fallen off.
Have one of those motherfuckers drive it home for you.
Why you guys push it into that parking spot rather than drive it? Weird.
Jesus, what happened?
That's where I'm at for the week. I have no resolution for the wing house situation. I haven't tried to call them again. So
hey, look, in your defense, Mike, I do enjoy hearing stories where people go after people and hold them accountable for what they've done. I don't know. It has to be something pretty serious for me to say anything. Yeah, I do enjoy those stories where people get restitution or whatever, stuff like that. I'm just not like that. I just don't, it's, I guess it depends on what happens. And maybe I've just been lucky where I haven't been fucked over like that, but
Nah, I mean, I'm slowly turning over to the dark side. I mean, I've noticed and I don't know if it's a pandemic thing, if it's a whatever, but I'm either getting great customer service where I feel like someone's really paying attention to what I say and what I need and help me out. I'm saying I've gotten some really great customer service where I felt someone was really trying to help me. And this has happened, across a bunch of shit. On the flip side, I feel like I've been getting shit customer service where it's like, were you even paying attention to what this was about or what I needed? And there's no in between. It's like you get someone who's competent and cares, or you get someone who just obviously doesn't give a fuck. And like I say, I'm slowly turning to the dark side because the don't give a fucks are graining on me. But then again, every once in a while, I'll get someone who does and, give me really good, I was just dealing with my refinance and I came up with someone who gave me really good. He's like, oh, let me look into that for you. Like, oh, we can I can get you a deal here. I'm like, thank you. Someone's actually helping me out. And that kind of balances it out. But if you had to say, I'm slowly becoming Anakin and
Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm slowly
Alright.
turning over to like, I'm about to kill all these younglings with all you youngling customer service people. I'm about to slice you up with my lightsaber.
Yeah.
I got to deal with your bullshit. But
No, the younger
That make-
people in a customer service position, you're going to get shitty service for them. They hate their job. Number one, they're just there for a paycheck. They don't want to go above and beyond. You're not going to get it from younger people. They don't care. They think they think you're the reason that their life sucks when you walk in the door.
So that
But
makes
customer
me think-
service is a hard job, man. I got to tell you, because I was in it for like 25 years, and I had to get out of it because I was having homicidal thoughts, and I'm going to wait for this guy outside, that type of shit. It's a hard gig, man, to try to satisfy, because they say the customer's always right and blah 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 blah. Well, that was okay for me for the first 10 years of my life in customer service, but after that, if you're wrong, you're fucking wrong. I was like, I'm the customer, I'm always right. No, you're fucking wrong. Okay, wrong is wrong. That's all there is to it. So you're gonna get those people. I mean, they're out there, in droves. Most customer service people, especially the younger ones, you're going to have a hard time getting good service out of them. That's my opinion. That's what I've come across, that the younger people, who got a job just because, they want a little extra scratch in their pocket, but they don't really give a shit about what they do. They'll just go get another job at, doing fries at McDonald's or whatever. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm not putting fry people down. I'm just saying, it's another job, so, yeah.
what were you gonna say, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck my
Wait.
but,
Jeremy was a fry
What were you
cook.
gonna say, Jeremy?
I
Jeremy
work
worked at McDonald's.
Yeah. Hey, there's no. Hey.
So, fuck you. But Saint made me think about that. You guys seen the Progressive commercials where you're becoming your parents,
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
have one where they're in the supermarket, and the guy at the end stops and says, "Hey, so and so in produce is doing a great." So I wanted to know, do you guys complain if you get bad service, but have you ever told the manager, "Hey, this guy's doing a fucking great job," or "Thanks for good service"? Do you?
Well,
Other than,
I'll say
service
that
you may tip, but other than that,
I'll say that I won't go seek out the manager, but whoever's standing there that they work with or whatever, I'll say, this guy's doing a great job. Because the other day, in fact, I was at the grocery store and this guy bagging my shit. He was the coolest fucking guy and bagged my shit nice and doubled everything up. And, yeah, it's just a bag job, but he was taking pride in what he was doing. And he was making sure that, I knew that he was doing a good job, and because I was watching him, and, do you want me to put this in a bag? And what do you want to do with this? And blah, 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 and, he's reaching out to me as a bag boy, not the most glorious job in the world, but the guy was doing it good and taking pride in his work and being, because they're big customer service as well. They're bagging your shit that you're buying. And I'm impressed by people. And he was a younger guy too. And I was very impressed that him being the age that he was going above and beyond. So I said, the cashier there was a little bit older, and I said, you're lucky you got this guy in your lane, because he's doing a great job. He's like, oh, thank you, sir, and blah, 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 blah. So those guys are few and far between, man. But yeah, I mean, if somebody does good service, I'll say something, even if it's just to them. Say, hey, you did a great job. Thank you.
I have been.
What about you guys?
I have been when I get that really good service, I have been filling out or staying on the phone to fill out those surveys. If I get normally I'm like I ain't got the time, whatever. Well, you stay on the line to fill out a quick survey, most of the time I'm hang up or whatever. Yeah. But when I have been getting good service, I have been taking the extra time to fill out the thing and give them 5 stars and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know how much of that the company, I'm sure it just gets pumped into an algorithm or whatever now, but I have been taking out the time if I felt that the service has been really good or really bad, going to the dark side, but whatever, to fill out those things and say, yeah, 5-star review or whatever the rating system is to go and say, yeah, this person gave me really good service. I hope that, it counts or whatever. So I haven't gone to a manager in a store. I haven't done any, you typically, because I'm just like, I just want to get in and out of here and get back home. But yeah, if it's, or I have actually, there was something I did go online and look to see, and they said, if you want to fill out this survey for, I forgot what it was. And I went actually on the website and filled out one of those customer review things and left a very positive review. So, yep.
Yeah, I think people who give good customer service should.
Vader.
Yeah, you get it.
Nope. I only use my powers for evil.
Oh my God. Have you ever had a good experience with people?
Yeah, I mean, there was one time at a strip
Well,
club.
it's one time. Yeah, there was one time 7 years ago. You got to put extra pickles on my Whopper, so I.
No, listen. When people do a good
need
job,
a fucking Whopper. You won't put pickles on a burger. There's ketchup. Maybe.
Yeah. I eat a Whopper plain, thank you.
That could be another subject. Okay, that's the next topic. How you eat your Whoppers?
No, I mean Jeremy's on point right there. But no, so I let it reflect in the tip. Like, listen, there have been times, and it's mostly when there's a cute server that's done a good job, where I've left as much as like 100% tip. Okay, so like I do that portion. There have been times, I can't recall the last one, where I have gone to.
No. You're giving the I want to fuck you tip. That's the
that's
well, that's different than good customer service.
No, that's not true, because it has to be good customer service. It can't just be someone who looks good to get a good tip. They will get a bad tip in that point.
They look good. They drop soup in your lap. You're gonna still give them the fucking 100% tip.
No. I can promise you, Vinny, you're talking to the wrong guy when you think that I'm doing that, because that shit is not happening, because I don't believe in tipping in the first place. I only do it because society says I have to. Like
here we go. Here we go. Reservoir Dogs.
Wait a minute.
Here we go.
Wait a minute, man.
Here we go. Oh,
those people make like $4 an hour.
Here we go.
If you're not fucking tipping
that's nice guy Eddie. That's nice guy Eddie right there.
All right.
What the fuck?
Oh no, Mr. Blonde. Is it Mr. Who was
which one was that? I got to rewatch the fucking opening scene of Reservoir Dogs.
Exactly. That's a great scene too.
Listen, man. If they want to get paid more, they need to go find a job where they make more.
Oh, there it is.
Or in my personal opinion, because I think corporations are just full of fucking greed, the corporations need to be paying them a living wage, and then if people tip on top of that, that's their own choice. But I don't like walking into fucking Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever where they're just going to hand me my food expecting a tip on the thing.
Who the fuck is tipping at Starbucks? I don't tip at Starbucks.
Well, I'm sure people do.
Starbucks, not McDonald's.
Not McDonald's. No,
McDonald's.
No.
Fuck, my order's gonna be wrong.
Hey, could you give this $5 bill to the fry cook back there? These fries are fantastic. Give them $5, please.
Now Jeremy's like, yeah, maybe they should tip at McDonald's.
Yeah, maybe they should have done that.
No, Mike, you're Mr. Pink, and Vinny's becoming Mr. White. I can't believe he broke out into a Reservoir Dogs, the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs.
That's right. Scene again. You fucking they make $2.15 an hour, and you're gonna stiff them on a tip because your drink didn't have a coaster.
I don't care about coasters, but no, I feel like that corporations that don't pay people a standard living wage.
Yeah, well, okay, that's on the corporation though. That's not on the guy handing you your fajita.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Like I said,
how are your tips for what do they call it? Gig
DoorDash
going for you?
DoorDash? Yeah. No, they're good. They're good.
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
I mean, if someone mark down the customers, hey, I don't want to do this one again because he doesn't tip, type thing.
No, I mean you can refuse.
No repeat customers.
No, you can refuse deliveries, but I mean, I guess you can. I haven't done it, and I don't know if it can be done. I guess you could complain about somebody you deliver to. I don't see why you couldn't, and they might cut off their account. I mean, it's got to be something pretty bad.
My wife was doing grocery delivery around here.
Yeah, sure.
And most of the other ones that she would meet up with or talk to would, they would keep like a freaking Google map because we're not Atlanta. We're a small area, so you
Right.
get the same customers over and over, and they
Yeah.
would keep like a Google map with pins that would say,
Oh.
"Hey, this guy didn't tip me last time," so they'd see that order come up for that address, and nope,
And not take it.
not going there. What's the use of that?
Sweet.
I'm not
I
gonna take
love
any-
it.
Why would fuck would I take that delivery?
Yeah. Well, I've
I'll
gotten,
try to.
I mean, we're in a small enough area you can do that. But
yeah. Well, I actually don't do it in Atlanta. I'm mostly in Metro Atlanta, suburbia. But and I do get a lot of repeat people. But they've been good to me. I give them good customer service, man. I mean, I get good ratings from those people, and sometimes they'll even send in extra notes like went above and beyond, or very professional, very
so
courteous.
you're not
blah, blah.
delivering to Mike.
I'm definitely not delivering to that motherfucker. I see that address come
He
up.
doesn't sound good
That's a no-win situation right there.
Just for your information, during the pandemic, when my wife and daughter had COVID and they got all that money for DoorDash or Uber Eats and all that kind of shit,
Yeah.
I was tipping people. Thank you very much. I was doing
Yeah,
it.
$1
I
if they were
No.
on time, 50 cents
No.
if they were late.
No, I was doing
50
20%. I think I
If
was
they're
doing
late, are you
20% at
kidding me?
least. No, I was doing 20% at least.
Mike would have their car taken away from them if they came late.
Have you guys all seen that video of that woman who delivered and said that an $8 tip wasn't enough, and she was talking to the guy on the Ring doorbell,
Yes.
and she grabs the food and
I had
leaves.
to drive. Yeah, I had to drive that far. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I had to drive 40. She said it's 40 minutes.
40
the guy's
minutes.
like, that guy's like, that's a 10 or 20-minute drive. She's like,
Exactly.
no, it's not. And she just grabbed his food and fucking left. And the guy's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. See, the good thing about DoorDash, I don't know if Grubhub and Uber Eats are the same way. You can refuse to take an order, and there's no limit of how many you can refuse. And then they have a list of reasons you can pick, and you pick one and submit it or whatever. And then they have one that says something else. I usually just hit something else, whatever. But a lot of times you'll get an order that's like 11 miles away, and my rule is if it's less than $1 a mile, I won't take it. You'll get some that are like, you'll get $4.75, but you got to drive 11 total miles to pick up and deliver this food. Nah, I'm not doing that. It's got to equal at least $1 or more per mile. So there's that. I mean, and you don't get penalized from DoorDash by refusing deliveries. You can refuse as many as you like. So that's pretty good. You can pick and choose what you want to do. If you want to stay in a certain area, pick yourself like a 4-mile radius and just take whatever comes in there. But I've had good experiences with it so far, and if it wasn't for that shit, I'd be in the street right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing this thing called MedZoomer as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but a big thing now is prescription delivery. And MedZoomer is one of those partners with pharmacies that deliver. But the only thing with my MedZoomer area is it's not very big. It's not real big up here right now. So I only have like one pharmacy. But if I get like 5 deliveries, which are like in a 5-mile radius, you could be done in 45 minutes delivering stuff. You get $6 per prescription and then $20 just for being on call. So potentially you can make $40 something under an hour. The only problem with that is that's it, you're done. So it's like you made $46 today, but it was in 45 minutes. But that would be different, of course, if bigger. I mean, this is some local pharmacy that you walk in and that's all they do is just the pills. They don't have anything else that you can buy. It's like almost like a warehouse. It looks like black market almost, that you're walking in, picking up these drugs and delivering them to people. But if you got,
I won't go to a black market.
Yeah.
Only white markets.
Yeah, I know you, Mike. I don't go to any market that's too hip hop. I don't want to go to
be
any.
here all week, folks. Yeah, too hip hop.
My wife,
Pharmacy's too hip
my
hop
wife,
for Mike.
But
my wife doing Shipped. They do deliveries for CVS. So
yeah, Shipped. I saw that.
It's
Yeah,
a little bit different.
yeah, that's the whole thing. If
Good work for
MedZoomer
them.
could get a hold of those types of corporate pharmacies, then this thing would take off for them. But I don't know who's in their marketing. I don't know how they get the pharmacies they get. So, but I told them, I said, listen, if you want these areas to pick up or something, send me some literature that I can hand out to these pharmacies because it's only going to put money in my pocket too. So send me some literature. If I'm driving by a pharmacy, I'll drop it off. I'll talk to whoever's there and blah, blah, blah. So, but
Vinny, you got a Costco around you? Why don't you go work at a Costco? They apparently pay pretty good, and they have insurance for everyone that works there, even part-time.
I've applied to Costco. I've applied to Costco, Sam's Clubs.
Apparently, Starbucks has really good insurance.
Who does?
Starbucks.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that too. I could be I could be a mad barista.
Girl I knew from high school worked there just to pay for her, or because their insurance covered her in vitro. So they
really?
good
Wow.
Insurance. Yeah.
See, I'd work at a Starbucks, but I'd be afraid Mike would walk in, and that'd be the end of my fucking.
Yeah. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah. I think I'm more than coffee, Mike. You can get a water or,
Oh, I know. I go in there and
drink.
get my unsweet tea. So yeah, if I saw your ass and you were fucking rude to me, you're in for a fucking treat, motherfucker.
See that? See? They'd kick me right out of the Barnes and Noble that the Starbucks is in. You can't buy books here anymore either, fucker.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up unless anyone else has any more pressing issues for this week. We've been talking for a while.
Nothing pressing.
All right. Well, it was good to have Vinny back. We'll see if he shows up again.
Good to be here.
In
Good
the
to be
future.
here.
Now we're back to the 4 guys with no pants.
No pants. That's it.
You got to stand up to prove it, Vinny.
I'm too ashamed. I'm too ashamed to stand up and show.
All right. So as usual,
I got to clean this chair now though because I was sitting here naked.
His ass juices are just all over the chair.
Yeah, well, I took a shit before I got in my chair, so I guess I didn't wipe as good as I thought.
This is the quality content we miss without Vinny.
My favorite part is Saint down there just not giving a shit. Doesn't
it's not even phasing him. It's like, oh, no, Vinny's talking. Okay.
Talking about standing up and showing that you're not wearing. I'm like, okay. Well, welcome back, Vin. Welcome back.
That sounds about right.
All right.
These assholes.
So find us on theusualsaints.com. We're on all the streaming platforms. Leave us a 5-star review. We'll say whatever it says in the review, good or bad. You can call.
It better be good, or Mike's coming to get you.
No, man. I said, what was the joke? I said I'd read Kaczynski's manifesto if I had to, the Unabomber's manifesto, if it was what was in the fucking review. I don't care. Call us 240-724-6877. Find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The Usual Saints. And we'll be back next week with an all new episode. We're going to be recording a new episode of the USSR here in a minute about Boba Fett episode 5. It's going to be Saint running it, but we're going to turn off the live for that. So if you want to listen to that, find that on wherever you get a podcast as well. Apple, Spotify, it's all over the place. So for Jeremy, Saint, and Vinny, I'm Mike D saying thanks for listening to Usual Saints.
Peace.
You didn't have to say it that time.
It's all Vinny. He doesn't even know. We've been saying peace while you've been gone.
Oh yeah.
Jeremy or Saint will go peace. That's Jeremy's pace. That's Jeremy's.